Today, very special guest, Padraig Harrington, commonly referred to as Patty. Do you mind if I call you Patty?
I'm happy for you to call me Paddy.
All right. Three-time major winner, 31-time champion at various events around the world, six-time winner on the PGA Tour, and I think still has the current record for longest field goal on the 16th hole at the Waste Management.
I have that picture up in my office, and it is my favorite picture. Me kicking that ball, and I have to tell you a funny story about it because we kicked the ball on Saturday, and then on Sunday we had a few more balls to kick, and I'm in the last group. I'm playing with Phil Mickelson and Brent Snedeker, wasn't it? I think they were going head to head. I was fifth or sixth at that stage, so I wasn't winning the tournament, and I got to 16. But I promised myself. I said, when I get the balls, I'll just bunt them up into the stand. But of course, with all the people there, all the adrenaline, I started kicking that ball, and I start lashing into it. I was full pelt. I kicked one over the stand. I was so much going. I could have done. Obviously, I could have pulled a hammer easy enough. I could have done anything to myself at the time, and I still had 2 holes to play, 2.5 holes to play. But I was far more interested in kicking the ball at that moment than I was trying to birdie one of the next 2 holes, maybe to knock me up to fifth place. You just don't get opportunities like that too often to really do something different, something that's a bit out there, and certainly it stands out for me as one of my favorite moments.
Can you tell us a little bit about the experience, on 16 and what it's like the first time you enter into the Coliseum and with 15,000 fans?
Look, that's actually very nerve-wracking. And it doesn't start when you enter in on 16. It starts when you're playing 15. You can hear that buzz and that noise, and for anybody, it doesn't matter how good you are as a golfer pressure-wise. You're just thrown slightly out of your comfort zone with all that's going on, and you to be honest, it's I know some guys try and just play safe. I actually dream about hitting the perfect shot. I want to have a hole in one on 16. I'm trying to hit it close and make a birdie. I'm at that stage in my career that sort of stuff would be fun. And I can guarantee you, if I have a hole in one, and I don't, you might have to cut this out, or the PGA Tour might be too happy. When they throw those beers down at the tee box, I'm going to drink one there, I'm going to knock it straight back, and I'm going to go to the green and knock another straight back. I ain't going to waste some of those beers that are thrown out there, because those situations, as I said, it's an exceptional place in golf. There's nothing like it, and we know, as we see, a lot of tournaments are trying to copy it, but then and that's great. I'm happy for them, but they're not going to be the 16th hole at Waste Management. They're not going to be the whole tournament, and I kind of describe, the Waste Management. It's like, and fairness, I come from a good tournament at home. When it comes to the Irish Open, it's something similar. It's the event that the players play in, that they all want to play well in, like any other week, and do well. But if they don't play well, they enjoy it. It's not, as I said, I hate to tell you this, but it's maybe the best event of the year to miss the cutter, because you really can enjoy yourself. It's a tough week. If you've only just made the cut, it's a good week too. You're not too stressed. If you are leading the tournament or there right at the end of the week, there's a lot of stress. But anything else, anywhere you're in the middle of the pack or something like that, you're just really enjoying yourself, getting into the buzz of it. And as I said, anytime you hit a great shot, it doesn't matter. You could be out in the middle of nowhere, out that front nine, you hit a great shot, there's still thousands of people there to cheer and give you a shout out. So it's possibly second to none. It is second to none when it comes to the atmosphere it's generating. Maybe an Open Championship, they're pretty good like that too, where they have massive crowds moving around the place. So yeah, look, nerve-wracking 16, unbelievably nerve-wracking, and I don't want them to be quiet. I'm all for the ambient buzz, the noise. I definitely, probably the guy who comes in sometimes to try and silence them and is nearly having a row with them or whatever. I want him, no, just leave them be, let them be enjoying themselves. Players, I can handle that buzz. Actually, you know what? It must be tough for Phil Mickelson. The silence would be a lot tougher. Would bring a lot more pressure.
the good news is we've started construction on a modified 16th hole that will circle, the entire hole, and we will have limited fans. So we'll make sure, we keep the noise, everybody's safe, safety priority one, but, we're going to have a good time out there.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you don't have to, what is it? To bring in some extra sound, pretend there's fans there. It's better with the real fans. And look, I can tell you, like the vast majority of the players really appreciate it, love it, and want that noise, and appreciate the fact that we're at an event that has a golf tournament maybe than a golf tournament that has an event.
Yeah, well, we obviously take great pride in our event and love that you love it and the players love it. Let's talk a little bit about your career that's now spanned 3 decades. Obviously, a lot of high points, and we feel you're for sure in the Golf Hall of Fame here in the very near future. Tell us, but one box that you haven't checked, which you were planning on checking this year, was the captainship for the European Ryder Cup team. What did that mean to you when you found out that you had been selected? And obviously now that it's been postponed to 2021, we're all super excited to watch that. But what did that mean to you when you got the nod and you got that call?
Yeah, I was sitting on the toilet when I got the call. Look, it was, I suppose I obviously had an inkling that, that I was in the lineup and that it probably should be me. But it's still, when you get the call, there's a substantial feeling of, God, I got to do this justice. It brings a pressure. It's gone are the days you're not taking this as a swan song. It's not like, oh, you deserve to be captain, enjoy it. No, you've got to do a good job. You've got to put the, you want to leave no stone unturned, and it's a big deal to the European players, and I think it is a big deal now to the US players as well. It's really turned into a great match. It obviously was one-sided probably prior to the 80s. Europe has pushed on now that it means something now. It's very tight. Both sides of players. I think there was a time that there was quite a bit of acrimony in the match. I think now we've got the right balance that when the players go on the course, they fight tooth and nail. It's dog eat dog out there on the golf course, but they've got it to this stage that they all walk off the golf course and they shake hands and we're friends off the course. We party together on the Sunday night, so it really is in the right balance of a very intense match that both sides wants to do well in. But it doesn't spill over anymore. It really is. The players have it in a very nice place that it's just a competitive, fair game of golf.
Well, it's a beautiful thing, and we all love watching it. Talk to me. So you've been on 6 Ryder Cup teams, 4 of which have won. Can you talk to us a little bit? And as you mentioned, the European team is played really well, and won a majority of them over the last decade or so. Can you tell us a little bit what without revealing trade secrets, what is the secret sauce to the European team that has allowed you to go on the run that you have?
I think we have a slight chip on our shoulder that, over the years, we used the Ryder Cup to prove ourselves as equal to the PGA Tour, and that motivates us. I think we have got a very good balance over the years of managing to bring rookies into the team, balancing them up with some of the senior players and really get the most. We're definitely been stronger as a team than we are as individuals. That's kind of leveling out now. I think our players in general have got stronger over the years. 30 years ago, sometimes you might have turned up and there was 2 or 3 players that you were trying to hide in the team. That's not the case now. We tend to bring, 12 equal players, but we do work very hard on matching those players up and getting good partnerships, which we need to do. We need to work that foursomes and 4-ball as we have over the years to make sure we, try and take an advantage into the singles. What we found though, it is getting difficult to win and away from home, both for the US and for the Europeans. Course setup can make a big difference. We in Europe, we like to set up a golf course that's, very tight, very difficult, all about pars. And in the US, it tends to be, soft greens, big long golf course, lots of birdies, very fast greens, and just each side is taking a little bit of an advantage in that sense, and so it's kind of tough. Thankfully, Whistling Straits is kind of a more neutral golf course. It's hard to see, if we were going playing in a Hazeltine or Valhalla, the US would be way favourites. It's tough for us to beat the US team on a traditional course. But, these things, as I said, both sides, I'd love to tell you that we were doing something that the US guys weren't doing, but the US guys are now doing the same stuff. They've figured out what we're doing. We're using statisticians and all things like that to figure out our best combinations. But ultimately, it comes down to the week itself, a bit of a good team atmosphere, a bit of a buzz out there, and players playing for each other, and that's ultimately it. Players playing for each other, and they just play above themselves, hold a few putts, and the excitement just rolls on.
How's your relationship with the American captain, Steve Stricker?
Look, everybody likes Steve Stricker, but he is a tough customer. Steve is the nicest guy in the world. He's such a straight guy. He's very polite, but on the golf course, he is really tough. He's taken me out a few times over the years. He is just a very hard, tough customer. Which to be successful as a professional golfer, you have to have certain traits. Steve is not a big hitter. It's not like It's not like he's blowing everybody away because he's so much longer and so much better tee to green. He's doing it because he's tough underneath. And I know that. Look, he's a super guy to be playing against. It should be a great fair match. But I'm not underestimating, just because he's got a very nice personality, I ain't underestimating his competitiveness. Got
it. Let's flip back to your career. A hell of a stretch with your three majors. I think it was 3 out of 6, 2007, 2008 with the Open Championships. What did that mean to you at that point in your career, and how did it change, the trajectory of your career?
At the time I won them, it was coming. I had been very close. I built up to that. So I was really in-form player at that stage. I was good at peaking. That was I was very good at managing my game to peak at certain stages. I'd figured out a good formula for me. I think, it is interesting. I played very well in 2000. I actually played better in 2009 than I played in 2007 and 2008, but I didn't win. 10, I still played again and played very well in 2010. I think after that, I started to become, when you're winning majors, you've got to feel comfortable that your game is good enough. And I think after, 2011, the new guys came on, the Dustin Johnsons, the Rorys, and they started putting me under, I felt like, wow, I need to have a big week to win. Whereas in 2007, 2008, I wasn't really looking over my shoulder. I was only looking at me. Whereas, when the new kids come out, and I see that happening right now, the amount of guys looking over their shoulder, Bryson DeChambeau now, and going, oh, and he's having an effect on them. And I say DJ and Rory had that effect on me.
Let's talk about a tournament that's also near and dear to your heart, the Irish Open, where for a long time, when you won that event in 82, it was the first Irishman since 1982, correct? What did that mean to you to win in your home country?
Well, that's, I'm sure it's be the same for the guys who coming out there in Arizona. If you're win your state tournament, it's got to be like a major to you, winning in front of your home fans. It doesn't have to be, it could be your home city. Like over here, Phoenix has a bigger population than Ireland has, so ultimately somebody winning the waste management, that would feel like what it's like for me to win the Irish Open, win in front of your family, in front of your fans. A lot of pressure, and it's very similar to winning a major in terms of the stress and pressure. And it took me a long time to get comfortable in the Irish Open. I played good 10 of them, 10 more than 10, 11 of them before, maybe 8, 9 before I started getting comfortable. I'd say I was comfortable before that in majors, as in, you know, there's not quite as much of the razzmatazz when you're playing a major as there is when you're playing your home tournament. There's a lot going on. And I see that again in the Ryder Cup. You know, there's a lot of distraction, a lot of things going on that can draw you away from it. Now, not as a player, but certainly as a captain, the Ryder Cup can be a busy week, similar to an Irish Open and a little bit like majors if you let it happen. I think once you get to a certain level, you figure out how to get that balance of you know, you basically you do far less work the week of a major than you do at a regular tournament.
Gotcha. Now we have our famous loose impediment incident at our tournament with Tigers Rock. Can you tell me what was going on at the Irish Open recently? Where, I mean, you're moving a tree. I mean, that's next level. So what was going on there? And take me through what happened.
I live and die by the rules in my whole career. I'm that guy. If I was an amateur, I'd be the annoying guy in the golf club who knows the rules. And yeah, I went in there to find my golf ball. The marshal pointed it out. And as it turned out, he actually pointed out the wrong golf ball. My ball was actually 3 feet away from it. But there was this branch, and I went back and checked that, hey, this branch has actually been knocked down. And then I called my caddy. I lifted it up to see that it wouldn't move anything. And then, okay, I couldn't get it away. So then I picked it up and brought it out. The great thing about it was a huge branch. Like, it really was. But the tree was obviously dead, so the branch wasn't that heavy. I looked good doing it. It looked like, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, but it wasn't that heavy, actually.
You look great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was sure I was going to. I didn't get it up and down. I was pretty sure I'd get it up and down from there. I was really disappointed that I didn't make birdie from in the trees on the par 5.
You look like you knew what you were doing, and superhuman strength. You know, just removing the tree to hit your shot. Yeah. So let me talk a little bit. You know, the start of the pandemic. We're back in the spring, and you started putting together Patty's, you know, golf lesson videos on Twitter and Instagram. Tell me a little bit about, you know, why you started doing that, where those were shot, and kind of the thought process on starting down, because you posted a ton of videos.
Yeah, you know what? I really enjoyed it. Now, the reason I did it was because I like coaching. When it comes to I play with 3 amateurs every week in a pro-am. Everybody gets 1 or 2 lessons by the end of the round. I only do it at the end. I don't want to upset people early on. And generally, if I'm on a driving range, you know, if somebody makes eye contact with me, they're getting a golf lesson. That's just the way I am. A little annoying, I'm sure, but this was an opportunity for me to get my knowledge out to the beginners, the regular guys, the regular Joes. I'm not interested. I don't want to give lessons to other pros and give them any information to beat me, but I want to give help to, you know, people who are playing once a week, just so that everybody should be a single figure golfer. Everybody should be able to go out and enjoy it. It's not, how will I put it? It's not, this game is made very complicated. You know, in the end of the day, when you're trying to hit a golf ball, it's the same as when you were a 5-year-old kid, you picked up a stick and you whack something. That's all a golf swing is. Just keeps picking up that stick and whacking it, and eventually you'll figure to get the club head square to the ball. But people, because no matter how athletic you are, generally when you first swing the stick at the ball, you won't square the face up and it will go crooked and you'll think you did something wrong. And the compensations that people put in early in their game, they never get rid of. So like I'd be a great believer if I was teaching a beginner or something like that, I'd be teaching them to like really swing at it, lash at it for 2-3 months, even if that meant they fresh aired it, you know, whereas most people, when they come and play, they're so obsessed with hitting it straight at the start and in the air. And those 2 things will ruin a lot of the natural flair that somebody would have. So I really enjoy getting out there, and it was better to do it. And, you know, as much as everything on social media is pretty fake, you know, for kids going out there these days, everything looks perfect. And, you know, that's not the truth of it. The great thing about social media is I could get straight out to my fans or to anybody like that. Whereas if you do books and video, it's very hard to get the content out there the way you want it with an intermediary. With no intermediary, it was great that I could just put it out there. And another bonus of it was my son. We did them all at my house because it was during lockdown. And my son videoed it. And what was good about that was, as anybody knows, you can't tell your kids that much. It's very hard. They have to kind of watch you and learn from what you do. But my son had to watch all those videos, so he picked up quite a few tips from it. And while he doesn't play enough to be a player at this moment, if you watched him play one shot, certainly if before he hit it, you definitely think he was a golfer, because he learned from watching me doing the tips. He learned the mannerisms that, you got to waggle your feet, you got to waggle the club, you got to have a little bit of movement. You don't want to be still, you don't want to be rigid over the ball. All these things that, he would have seen that when I was giving those tips. So I got plenty of payback from him. The fact that my oldest kid I was able to teach him a bit, kind of in a roundabout way, because my sons are like anybody else. They don't like the straight on do this. They don't ever listen to that.
That sounds familiar with my own son, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, he's not the only one that took advantage of that. I've always been a fan. I watched Chance Cosby, who our executive director. I told him, I said, I didn't know if he was watching them. He was watching them. I watched every one of them religiously. And honestly, it was, during a dark period, of really unknown. I think he started probably in March, April, and, we're all quarantined. We're all stuck in our houses. I don't have the setup in my backyard like you did, but I do have a putting green. And I would watch that, and I would go out and I would work on things, and because that's all we had at the time. So with that, I know you reached out to me recently and expressed some interest in playing our event this year and talking with Chance. And I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer. So with that, we would love for you. This is my first sponsor exemption invitation. We would love for you to join us the first week of February at the 2021 Waste Management Phoenix Open, and watch you a hole one, and I'll drink a beer with you when you knock that out.
Okay. I've got to say, I'm thrilled that you've given me the invite. I particularly appreciate the earliness of the invite. I really, that means an awful lot to me, that you not alone considered me for an invite, but you made it automatic at the start. So I really appreciate that. It's always been one of my favorite tournaments. I love it out there. I love everything about it. By the way, it's a fantastic course. I don't think the course gets quite as much, because obviously the event gets a lot of the attention. The course is great too. You guys do phenomenal work. You raise great money. And, in these times, it's great to be involved with anything that's raising money, because, the charities are really struggling, as we all know at this stage. So we appreciate you. And the players do as well. The players genuinely love the work you do out there, and all the volunteers. It's your event. Look, all the events in the PGA Tour, there's a lot of great events, but your event is right at the top of the pile when it comes to the work you do and the money you raise.
Well, thank you for the kind words. Thank you for accepting our invitation. You're my number one guy, so I'm glad we're on to other exemptions, but just on behalf of our group and myself, thank you for everything you do for the game of golf. I know you're super involved with your own charities, global ambassador for Special Olympics, which is an institution that we support here, in Arizona, as well as your own foundation. But, thank you so much for everything you do and being such a fan of our event and a friend of our group. And we're going to love to see you out the first week of February.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a bit of nice weather too.